Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Tertiary Courses. Today we're gonna learn some tips and tricks about HTML. As you see at the left side, I have created one HTML file with the name index. So using the Emmet toolkit, I'm going to generate a simple template of HTML page by using exclamation mark. You see the Emmet abbreviation on the interface has been selected, so I press enter and now I have this simple template. I'm gonna add a heading here, h1. This is a heading, and I save the file. This is the question: how can I check the output on the browser? Basically, there are two ways that you can check the output. I'm gonna explain both, but I don't really recommend the first one. Why I don't really recommend the first way, just bear with me, I'm gonna explain it later. So what's the first way? The first way is that you have to navigate to the folder that you have stored the file. Here, as you see, I have stored the file in Drive E, Tertiary Courses HTML. In order to see the output, I have to double click on the file and I can see the output. This is a heading. So what is the first reason that I don't really recommend this way? The reason is you have, in order to see the output, you have to navigate to the place that you have stored the file, which is a little bit time consuming. It's a kind of pain in the neck. The other reason is if I make any change, I add a paragraph here. Using the Emmet toolkit, you can just generate some dummy words by just typing lorem and then press enter. So I made a change, I just added a paragraph. In order to just see the change, I have to refresh the page. So whenever you make a change, in order to see it, you have to refresh it. This is the second reason that I don't really recommend this way. So what is the second way that we can use to just check the output? Here you click on extension, and on the search tab you just type live server. You're gonna see it here. Then you click install button. Installation takes just 2 or 3 seconds. When you install this extension, if you right click on this file, you're going to see this option, open with live server. So if I click on it, I can easily just check the output. I don't really need to navigate to the folder that I have stored the file. And also, if I make any kind of change, for example h2, this is another heading. If I save the file, as soon as I save the file, I can see the change. Okay, so you're going to use live server extension. Now I'm gonna delete whatever I have here. I want to use a form. You know, you're going to use forms most of the time when you want to get some data from users. Okay, so just type form, and then, you know, when it comes to forms, most of the time in the opening tag, you're gonna use 2 attributes, action and the other one is method. These 2 attributes, they are related to backend, so I'm not gonna talk about them here. I'm gonna have just a simple label tag here for name, and then name and br tag, then input type text, name and id, name, and also a br tag. In VS Code, when you want to actually generate the same lines of codes like here, you don't really need to copy and paste them. You can just select them all, press Shift Alt up or down arrow. So I press Shift Alt down. Here I just type email, and then also change these to email. Now I need your full attention here at line 16. Here I want to get the email from user. As you see, I set the type as text. If the type is text, you don't have any problem for receiving the data on server side. Okay, you can receive the data without any problem. But this is not really professional if you just set the type as text. Why? You know, imagine that the user want to visit your website using their tablets or a smartphone. Okay, so if they want to fill this input, fill it all, and the type is text, they are going to just see the normal keys on their keypad. But if you just set this type as email, they're going to see some extra keys on their keypads like dot or accent. So this is the first main difference, okay, that you're going to use type email when you want to receive email from user. The other reason that you have to use type email is related to validation. When it comes to web development, we have two layers of validation, front end and back end. Front end validation is good to have and implement, but this is not something that you can rely on. For back end validation, you must have it and you must implement it. Okay, let's talk about the front end validation, okay, because the back end validation is beyond the scope of this video. So if I just change this type to text, and let me just add input, add a submit button, and just type set the value as submit. So here the type is text. If I just say Jack and email Jack, you know that Jack is not a valid email address. Okay, so if I click on submit, you see that I could send the data. The page gets refreshed, right? So I could send the data with an email which is not valid. Okay, but if I just change the type to email and again Jack and Jack, if I try to submit it, okay, browser doesn't let me to submit this invalid email. Okay, even if I put @ and try again, it says that okay, the email is incomplete, and if I complete it, okay, so then I'm able to send the data. Okay, so the second reason is related to front-end validation. But as you see, I said this is not something that you can rely on. Okay, how? You know, usually hackers, they can bypass the front-end validation, but since the back-end validation is at the server side, it's really difficult to access their server. Okay, so it's very much more difficult, okay, for them in order to bypass the server side validation. So how can I bypass the front-end validation here? I can press F12 in order to open up Chrome Developer Tools and click on Elements here. So this is the form that I have, okay, and this is the input for email. I can just easily double click here and change the type to text. So now the type is text, and here I can just type Hana and Hana. The email is not valid, but if I submit it, click on submit, you see that I could easily send the data, okay, without any problem with invalid email. Okay, so I could bypass the front-end validation. You might ask, is it going to change the original code? No, the original code is email, and as you saw, when the page gets refreshed, you see again the type is email. So this is just what I wanted to talk about for this video. I hope you enjoyed it.